The Princess of Wales, Princess Catherine, released a touching video of herself with some personal videos with her family to mark the end of her chemotherapy journey. Now, she talked about her cancer journey and thankfully she is now cancer-free, and also acknowledges that she's not out of the woods yet. But she will be returning to public duty, and I can't wait to see her back in action. I haven't met her, but you can see that she has a beautiful soul, and we all wish her health and happiness. Prince Harry apparently wants to come back to the UK, not to live, but he is reportedly prepared to have offered help if he reportedly. Oh, that's really annoying. Reportedly offered help if the king needs him. Oh, that's really annoying. All right, fine. I'll just fudge over anything else. I won't do that again. I might as well, because it. Okay. Good, I won't mix that back. The Princess of Wales released a touching video of herself with some personal videos that of her and her family to mark the end of her chemotherapy journey. She talked about her cancer journey and thankfully she's now cancer-free. She also acknowledges that she's not yet out of the woods, but will be returning to public duty. And I can't wait to see her back in action. I mean, I haven't met her, but I think you can see that she has a beautiful soul. We wish her health and happiness. Prince Harry apparently wants to come back to the UK, not to live, but he's reportedly prepared to offer help if the king needs it. What planet is he on? He obviously has no concept of how damaging he has behaved. The public, British public on the whole, think he's a traitor. I mean, who does that to their family, really? I think he's had too much of those mushrooms or whatever, the stuff that he was talking about in that memoir that's apparently helping him to be delusional, more like. Embarrassingly, Meghan's trademark has been turned down. It seems America Riviera Orchard is a place, and, well, you can't trademark a location, so that didn't work out. A bit like everything they do. I mean, nothing seems to work, everything is ill-thought, and lots of it completely misjudged. Grazia magazine have reported that through her friends, Meghan regrets how she left the royal family. What, only now? After all the awful things that they've both put their families through? Believe that when I hear it from her lips, and even then I'm not sure I'd believe it was genuine. Frankly, they're running out of options and money. And, of course, it's Harry's birthday this week, and he'll apparently receive an undisclosed sum from the Queen, which will be millions. But I doubt that will be enough to stem the flow as they hemorrhage even more cash. I mean, look, Harry, you've made your bed. Carry on lying in it. Right, well, joining me now is the fabulous Ingrid Seward. She is a biographer and commentator. Ingrid, thank you very much for joining me. Shall we start with Prince Andrew, because he's apparently excited about the release of the Amazon MGM series, A Very Royal Scandal. The actor Michael Sheen portrayed him. I mean, this was the Emily Maitlis scenario. Why is Andrew excited about this? I'd be petrified if I were him.
I don't think Andrew can be excited about it. I mean, because it's just doesn't, whatever they say, it's not going to reflect well on him. It just reminds everybody of how much he really messed that interview up. And it just reminds you of, why was he so stupid as to agree to do it in the first place? I mean, he should have known from all his years of being surrounded with press, that, they are smarter than you and they're going to get the better than you. So better to be quiet and stay quiet.
I mean, perhaps he thought that by telling his version of events and, how he saw things, that people might empathise and understand him. But some of the things that he said were difficult to confirm, and some just didn't really sound right, like he doesn't sweat, which I don't know what he thought he was thinking that. But Andrew is apparently said to be planning a viewing party when the show airs in September on the 19th in the UK. Really?
I can't believe that. Why would he? Well, maybe he is. I mean, he does spend an awful lot of time at his home Royal Lodge watching television. So maybe he is having a viewing party, but I can't imagine why he would think to do that and why he would think that he's going to come out of it well with however he's portrayed, he's not going to come out of it well. But let's not argue with him. The problem is, I think, that Andrew lives so much in his ivory tower, something he once accused me of, and that he doesn't really understand what the real world is about and how people react to what you say, like, oh, a shooting weekend. Well, like any shooting weekend. Well, how are viewers supposed to know what a shooting weekend is like? And there's very, very few of them. I imagine have ever been on one. So it's that sort of, that sort of grandeur that he has that is really his undoing, I feel.
It does feel that he's slightly unrelatable to the normal person like you and I. But why did he say that to you, though? Why did he tell you?
Well, this was years and years ago when I was. He and Fergie were on their first tour of LA, I think, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing out of your ivory tower?" And I thought, oh, and he meant Majesty magazine, which I've been associated with for many years. He saw that as an ivory tower, and here I was, sort of downtown LA. I think that's what he meant, but I wasn't really sure. But I kind of laughed because you do. What else can you say?
Exactly. I mean, what else can you say? But but just to be fair to him, he's constantly denied any allegations, and although he reached a settlement with Giuffre, he didn't admit guilt or accept any liability. So we will say that for him. Now let's move on to Princess Catherine. Wonderful to see that beautiful video of her and her family, and she's apparently going to join the royal family at the Cenotaph for the Remembrance Day service on November the 10th. So it sounds like she's getting back into the swing of things.
Well, I think she's going to get back into the swing of things as much as she's able. But what she also said in a very, pretty way was that, she has to still take each day as it comes, and she doesn't know how she's going to feel. I mean, the whole video film, whatever you'd like to call it, was very, very attractively and professionally done. And I think this is definitely the way forward. I think the Waleses are, they're at the forefront of things. They know that, you can't just keep the same old, same old. You've got to be, you've got to attract, people that are of your own age, to care about you or to listen to what you say, because that's where it's happening now. The sort of staunch older royalists are always going to be there, but they need to engage with young people because those are the people they're trying to help.
Well, and it's good really to see her back, but I think what it does feel is that she's very relatable, unlike Andrew, to normal people. And that is a really lovely thing to see, isn't it? Now, what about Jude Law? He portrays Henry VIII in the film Firebrand, and he's expressed reluctance to bow to members of the royal family and is unsure about the stance of the monarchy.
Well, yes, I don't know why he said that, but he obviously feels that. But in fact, the royal family are not hidebound by this thing that people have to curtsy or bow to them. I mean, even the Queen in her latter years did not expect, especially Americans, she's obviously wasn't their queen, she's only our queen. And especially Americans, they don't have to at all. They can if they want to, out of courtesy, but absolutely not. I think the bowing and curtsying, if you notice, Nanny, well, I'm sure you probably observed that the most sort of fervent bowers and curtsiers are the people that actually work for them, that are paid for to work for the royal family. They are very reverential because they consider that's part of their job to be so. But the general public are not much anymore, and the royal family are really happy with that.
Well, and when we're talking about that, what springs to mind in my head is Meghan's curtsy, which I thought was quite disrespectful. But let's move. Yeah, that was terrible, wasn't it? And isn't it amazing that you can do a gesture that when people talk about, they can visualise. If it's that bad, when you've done something that somebody can actually talk about, and then people will see that very clip in their mind. It's a bit like that clip on Misery, where he smacks the hammer at her feet. Every time you think about that film, that's the first thing I see. But let's go on to Prince Harry. He's apparently going to receive £8 million for his 40th birthday. I doubt that's really going to be enough to keep them in the manner that they're accustomed to in Montecito, but it'll probably help.
I think it'll help. But the one of the many problems that Harry seems to have is that he's constantly engaged in lawsuits, and they are very, very, very expensive. So, and he's not necessarily winning very much of them. Even if he wins these many cases that he's got going at the moment, it doesn't mean he's going to get huge remuneration. But I know that that's not his main focus. His main focus is that he really, really wants to get at the British press, probably global press, and he's determined to carry on until he gets somewhere with it. And it's obviously costing him money. And also, everyone says, what does Harry do all day? Well, I actually think half his day is taken up with speaking to his lawyers and working out what the next move is. Incredibly time-consuming and incredibly stressful and very, very expensive.
And as you said, he doesn't get very much. Even if he wins, it's a couple $100,000 here or there. But he's probably spent millions doing this. Now, Oprah Winfrey's 2021 interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle significantly impacted their relationship with the royal family and solidified Oprah as a prominent supporter of the Sussexes. But I hear rumours that she regrets doing that interview. I might be wrong.
That Oprah regrets doing it, or Meghan regrets doing it.
Maybe they both regret.
I don't think Oprah would regret doing anything that she's done. I mean, she might perhaps regret that she was so sort of soft soaping with them. I mean, she was criticized at the time by some of the, I think, American press for being, not asking hard enough questions and not questioning their answers. But she very seldom gets criticized. I mean, Oprah is, the absolute queen of these kind of interviews, isn't she? But I think that there's also Gayle King, who works for CBS. They're all very, very chummy with Harry and Meghan, and they don't want to lose that friendship because that friendship, professionally is very important to them.
Do you think? I don't know. I think that... I think that after many of the things that have come along, for example, in Grazia magazine, they reported that Meghan, through her friends, said that she regretted the way she left the royal family. Now, I know I was speaking to Angela Levin about it, and Angela said that hadn't been confirmed with Grazia, even though she asked them. But do you think that Meghan is feeling a sense of regret, seeing as we are talking about regret?
I don't think Meghan regrets anything. She doesn't seem to have regretted the fact that she never speaks to her own father. I still find that very strange. She doesn't seem to regret the fact that her first marriage failed. She doesn't seem to regret that she's upset the royal family, albeit through Harry and herself. I don't think she's a girl that has regrets. I think that she's very strong and very determined to. That she is right. She's always right. I think that's the feeling I get from her.
And talk to me about the royal family's official report, the sovereign grant. What's happening with that?
Well, I'm not very good about money and the sovereign grant. But what happens? It's the money that they make from, say, the Duchy of Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall. The Duchy of Lancaster is surrendered to the government. So half the buildings in London belong to the Duchy of Lancaster in central London, and the monies are surrendered to the government and paid back to them in the form of a sovereign grant. But still people moan and say they're far too expensive. But because, of course, the ownership of these London properties are hereditary and go back for, probably a few hundred years. So people are always going to moan about the cost of the monarchy, regardless of how much goes in and how much comes out. And I think they're always working out about how much they cost per person. And it's less than a cigarette, I know that.
Well, listen, Ingrid, Seward, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. That is Ingrid. She's a broadcaster, author and an expert, royal expert. Thank you very much. Joining me now, author, broadcaster Lee Cohen. Lee, welcome to the programme. Really good to talk to you. You're also a writer too. Now, OK, Lee, let's talk Prince Harry. He's going to be celebrating his 40th birthday on the 15th of September. He's going to get some money off the Queen. I think he probably needs it.
Yes, indeed. Well, good morning, Nana. Thank you for having me. First of all, we Yanks want to send all of our prayers and best wishes to the Princess of Wales and her family. It was tremendously uplifting to hear some positive news and to bask in the beauty of family love on display in the video. And it draws such a contrast with the self-serving exploits coming out of Montecito. as you said, Prince Harry is facing a big milestone in his 40th birthday, which is truly a time for self-reflection. And if there's anyone who could do with a dose of self-reflection, it's Prince Harry. Harry should take a page from his sister-in-law's example and focus on the lessons from her latest revelations to focus more on the simple things in life and what really matters. He needs to work out all of his hypocrisies, inconsistencies, and anger, and leave the royal family, Britain, and the world in peace. And he needs to resolve why he blames everyone but himself and his wife for his appalling and disloyal behavior. But yes, indeed, he's reported to get a nice, tidy sum. I believe it's from the Queen Mother's legacy for him.
Yes, all of that sounds great, but if the person themselves doesn't think that there's anything for them to reflect on, or doesn't think that they should do any of that because they believe they're owed an apology, as we hear that he's still expecting an apology from William, which is laughable after everything. So if the person doesn't even think that they need that, then that's just never going to happen. But what about Meghan Markle, though? Because her America Riviera orchard, there's been issues with the trademark, and I think it's been declined, hasn't it?
Well, yes. And, but, this perhaps underlines the fact that, when Harry and Meghan were part of the royal family, they had people who were, very savvy managing their affairs. And now it's up to them and whoever they hire. And as we know, their hires keep heading for the back door and out the back door. So, perhaps a lot of these things, these misfortunes that are befalling them are because they no longer have the dedicated and professional staff that they had managing their affairs when they were part of the royal family. Meghan, Nana, is a product of her environment. Like so many former actors, she engages in tireless rebranding and reinventing in a desperate mission to stay relevant in the public eye. And they wouldn't have had to do that either if they, still occupied their former position.
Now, you see, that's the point, isn't it, really? That they were up there, Hollywood actors are probably down there, and then there's the rest of us. So when you get to that point where you actually don't need to work, the moment you step out of your house, everybody knows who you are. You don't actually need to carry any money with you because it's not relevant because, well, the money's got the face of one of your relatives on it. Do you know what I mean? When you're at that level of notoriety or fame, you don't need to do very much. But unfortunately, it sounded like she wanted to just grift, and that's exactly where they've got to now. So not much of their stuff is working out. Lots of professional failures. Harry also is ongoing struggle between the royal family. He said that he might want to return. He said he could help out if the king needed him. Do you think that's realistic?
Well, as you say, Harry's American adventure has been chock full of disasters. He has struggled to establish a successful career in Hollywood, and his ventures have not garnered the expected acclaim. And because of his attacks on his family and incursions into American politics, he is viewed, Nana, on this side of the Atlantic as a controversial and divisive figure, and rightfully so. Long-time and more recent Hollywood friends of the Sussexes have publicly distanced themselves for the couple, causing significant humiliation for Harry and Meghan. This compounded with the stress of his father's health problems and the difficult relationship with his family that he himself has brought on, would certainly be overwhelming, not for any child. But Harry's struggles in Hollywood, along with the mockery he faces on this side of the Atlantic, contribute significantly to his distress. And additionally, I believe that's compounded by feelings of nostalgia and isolation from his estranged family, friends, and familiar surroundings. So, this is really a difficult situation, and I would encourage him to really have a good long evaluation as this occasion of his 40th birthday approaches.
I doubt he'll do that. And it's sort of a welcome to Meghan's world, isn't it, really? Because she's distanced herself from her family. She's done exactly the same. She was doing that, and he's now done that to his own family. And they're very isolated. That cannot be a healthy situation for either of them, seeing as their families are very loving families. We don't hear of any awfulness from the families. They're very loving families, and one of them is, of course, the royal family. Let's talk to Ian McKellen. He's a renowned actor. He recently said that the Queen was rude, even though she's not here to defend herself, which is interesting that he's made that point a couple of years after her death.
Well, this is just appalling, Nana. Why did McKellen accept his knighthood in the first place, considering that he so obviously disrespects the monarchy and the late beloved Queen? He might be a knight, but he certainly has none of the dignity or chivalry associated with the honor. Nana McKellen actually has a lot in common with another actress. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip. I meant actor, Meghan Markle, who also despises the monarchy, but not enough to surrender her title. So both Markle and McKellen are in a similar boat in that both are constantly grasping for continued relevance, as actors always have. And both actors have astonishingly inflated opinions of themselves. And, McKellen is remarkably thin-skinned. I didn't find the exchange that he reported with the late beloved Queen to be rude. Rather, rather than a put down, I find it a far more interesting person. Her Majesty was showing interest in him and his profession.
Exactly. She said, does anyone still go to the theatre anymore these days, or something of that ilk? Is that an insult? If I say I'm on GB News and it's on TV, somebody says, does anyone watch TV anymore? I say, well, actually, we're online on everything else as well. So people consume it in lots of different ways. That wouldn't be a major offence if somebody said that. And if I found it offensive and they were giving me some sort of award, I would say, do you know what? No, thanks. But he hasn't done that, has he? He's quite happily accepted this knighthood. Apparently, he likened the royal family to being in prison due to all the public scrutiny, which... Interesting. Right, now let's come back to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, because along with their children, they might spend Christmas in the UK this year. That is what the rumours are saying.
Yes. Along with their children, Harry and Meghan may spend Christmas in the UK, and it's been reported that they have been invited by his uncle, Earl Charles Spencer, to stay at Althorpe. Having an axe to grind, Charles Spencer, may see this as his moment. But quite honestly, he's lining up behind the wrong family. He's choosing the wrong team to align with. Do you think though, because he's probably quite upset at the way he felt that his sister Diana was treated, so he is in support of his sister, and it's fair enough because Harry is obviously the next closest connection that he has to his sister. So, I get it, but because Harry has to come somewhere, doesn't he? He has to stay somewhere. Indeed. But then there's the question of an invitation to Sandringham, which would be, the really interesting event. But I don't think that's going to happen for Harry and Meghan. Their turning up in Sandringham would mean that, after all the unforgivable actions that they have taken against the royal family, including accusing them of racism and so many other unseemly things, that Meghan would have to face those that she has so strangely accused. I'm certain she would want to avoid that at all costs, considering how appalling were those charges.
And they would argue that, it's because of the security that we're not coming here, but I suspect it's for the sheer embarrassment that they probably acknowledge that they probably don't want to show face after what they've been saying about their own family. And also Meghan and Prince Harry potentially sitting on a gold mine, that's according to a royal expert. Harry's memoir Spare has obviously been a major success, although it depends what you measure success by. If it's just money, then maybe. He sold over 6 million copies, but it depends if it destroys your life or your family, then I don't know whether that's success. Tom Bauer suggests that Meghan's potential autobiography could generate even more income from the couple. So it sounds like Meghan's autobiography will be out soon. Would you buy a copy of it?
Well, I would rather listen to the reporting of it than support it financially. But I encourage them strongly not to come out with anything like that, Nana, with any new revelations. Meghan doing her a tell-all blockbuster attack once again, even though certainly that lined their pockets. And, we can't take away from Harry that, Spare sold very well and enriched him financially. But as you say, is that success? I mean, in my eye, for public figures, success also has to take into account their popularity. And none of the world is now feeling an upswell of emotion in response to Princess Catherine's statement yesterday about her chemotherapy. In contrast to the self-serving Sussexes, it is so uplifting to see the Wales family, a happy family together, loving each other, unlike a self-serving, self-promoting, jetting off to Botswana, as was announced that there might be yet a new faux royal tour, jetting off to Colombia, jetting off to Nigeria, pretending to be
royal.
To pretend to be royal. So.
Well, apparently they tried India and India turned them down and said, no, we don't really want this sort of kind of faux royal tour here. But to be fair, even though he may have made millions with that book, I think it's shortchanged because at the end of the day, he was worth so much more and it's actually a step down. Lee Cohen, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. That is author, broadcaster, writer Lee Cohen.